I want to ask you something and I want you to actually sit with it for a second. When was the last time you looked in the mirror, really looked, and the person looking back at you actually felt like you? Not a quick glance while you're brushing your teeth. I mean a real moment where you actually looked at that person and went, yeah, that's me. I recognize that person. If you're struggling to remember, then this video is for you. Because here's what I know from working with people going through exactly this. That moment, the one where you look at your own reflection and feel like a stranger is wearing your face, that's not a sign that something's permanently wrong with you. It's not proof that you've failed. It's just data. It's your nervous system filing an honest report on what months, maybe even years, of running on empty actually does to a human being. And once you understand what's driving it, you can actually do something about it. So stick with me. So let's talk about what's actually happening. Your sense of self isn't fixed. It's not a photograph taken at 35 that just sits there forever. It's more like a moving average. Your brain is constantly updating its model of you based on how you've been living, how you've been sleeping and moving and eating, and how much stress you've been carrying. If the last 6 months have been hard, your nervous system has been quietly rewriting that model the whole time. The version of you from a few years ago, fitter, calmer, more like yourself, that person isn't gone. They've just been buried under a few thousand average days where you put everyone else first and yourself last. Your brain didn't forget who you were. It's just stopped getting evidence that you still are that person. That's called identity drift. And it happens slowly and quietly without any single dramatic moment you can point to. Now here's where most people go wrong. They see themselves in that mirror and they feel that drop in their chest and they go hard. 28-day challenge, extreme diet, juice cleanse, 5 a.m. boot camp, all of it at once powered by motivation and shame. And it works for about 9 days if you're lucky. Then life happens, you get a sick kid at home, a brutal week at work, a bad night's sleep or more, 2, 3, 5, and the whole thing falls apart. So now you're not just exhausted, you've also got a fresh layer of shame on top of it. I call this the Monday to Wednesday cycle. You've probably lived it, started strong on Monday, falling apart by Wednesday, and a story playing in your head about why you're the kind of person who can never follow through. It's just not me. I knew I would fail. Sound familiar? That story is the real damage. Not the missed workout, that story. So what actually works? You don't need more motivation. Motivation is like weather. It shows up when it feels like it, and it disappears the second things get hard. What you need is architecture. A way of living that doesn't require you to feel a certain way before it works. Small, consistent inputs across the things that actually move the needle. Sleep, movement, nutrition, breath, and the psychology under all of it. And not all at once. Not a dramatic overhaul. One thing made consistent before you add another. And here's what most people get completely backwards. The goal is not to never fall off track. The goal is to get better at getting back on. The people who transform the most, in my experience, aren't the perfect, consistent ones. They're the ones who recover fastest after a bad day, because they know you are never more than one good meal, one short walk, one decent night's sleep away from getting back on track. That belief alone dissolves more shame than any motivational video ever could. I want to tell you about an elephant. His name was Bong Su, an Asian elephant I worked with during my years as a zookeeper at Melbourne Zoo. Elephants have extraordinary emotional memory. They don't forget fear, and they don't forget trust either. Rebuilding trust with an animal that size after a difficult history never happens through force or one big breakthrough moment. It happened through hundreds of small, calm, repeated interactions, day after day. Nothing dramatic, just consistency and the slow accumulation of evidence that said, this is safe now. You can stand here. Rebuilding your relationship with yourself works exactly the same way. You're not trying to win one big battle. You're trying to give your own nervous system enough pieces of small, tiny evidence. Slept well, moved well today, ate something that nourished me, breathed properly under pressure, that it quietly starts updating its model of who you actually are. The mirror catches up with that evidence. It always does, but you have to give it something to work with. I can't give you a magic number of days. Anyone who promises you a precise timeline is selling you something. What I can tell you is that the emotional shift, that moment of, there you are, tends to arrive before the physical one. People start feeling like themselves again within a few weeks of consistent small wins, often well before anything visibly has changed, because it was never really about the mirror. It was about self-trust, and self-trust is built exactly the same way it was lost, one ordinary day at a time. So if this landed with you, if you've been living in that mirror moment and wondering if you'll ever feel like yourself again, I want you to know that there's a place for you. It's called Rebuild with Tully. It's my online community, and it's where I work through all of this with people properly. The habits, the sleep, the movement, the nutrition, the psychology under all of it, which is the important bit. And it's done with a group of people who are all right where you are. The link's in the description to come have a look, join us, and if you want the full written article that goes with this video, comment mirror below and I'll send it straight to you. Thanks for being here. See you in the next video.